The ink that you received is this Speedball water-based ink set. You have the primary colors along with white, black, and gold metallic ink. When you're getting ready to print in a relief format, you don't need to modify your ink at all. Today what I'm going to use is some of the leftover ink that I used in a previous demo, as well as mix in some new color. So I've taken this leftover ink from a previous demo. Again, you can see almost immediately it's going to start to dry on you, so you can't leave colors for very long. I'm going to add some white to this today to make a lighter blue. And I want to thoroughly mix these colors together before I get ready to spread this with my brayer. When I'm working on mixing ink, you don't want to use up a huge space and kind of spread your ink everywhere because ultimately that's wasting ink while you work. So I spread a little bit and then regather it into one section, working with a palette knife or a spatula to start to meld these colors together. Once I have this all set up, what I want to do is I want to take my brayer and spread a line of ink from one edge to the other. That's about 2 inches wide, which ends up being right now all the ink that I just mixed up. You don't need a lot of ink to get the appropriate texture on your roller. When I go to ink this up now, you'll notice that at first it sounds rather sloppy. And that's because there's a lot of ink in one spot. But as we roll it out, that sound is going to get a little tighter. And then you'll also see the texture that kind of is reminiscent of the skin of an orange. And that's what we're looking to translate from our inking station onto our brayer and then onto our plate. I only roll out about as far as it takes to get a full roll of the brayer. Again, if I roll all the way out here, I'm just depositing ink in a spot on the inking table and not actually getting it to catch onto my brayer. So here you can hear that sound kind of get tighter, and then you can also see the texture here on the brayer. And this is what you're looking for with regards to the texture that should be on your inking station as well as on your brayer, and then should also then be transferred onto your plate once you ink. So you may need to recharge your brayer a time or two to get that same texture across the whole of your linoleum plate. As I ink up, I rotate so that I make sure I get the whole of my plate with the ink. The texture here on my plate right now is a little finer than what you can see on my inking station. So that tells me that I need to recharge my brayer a little bit and then apply some more ink to the surface of my plate so that I have that same texture across all three things. The ink on my station, my brayer, and then my plate itself. And I want that texture to be consistent across the whole of my plate. So you may want to check especially the corners to see and make sure that you've gotten enough ink across the whole plate. Always have your brayer resting brayer roller side up so that you don't have any dry or hard spots on your brayer. Once you've done this and you're happy with the texture of the ink that's on your plate and that it's consistent, then you're ready to print.